Hello, welcome back to the channel, everyone. In this episode, I'm going to do a quick video on how to rewire the headlights using the factory headlight switch as a trigger for a pair of relays, one for high beam, one for low beam. I did this during the AC install on the battery rewire, so I filmed the rewiring of the headlights separately. So here's that little video. So before we put the nose on the car, what I want to do is the wiring harness for the headlights and the horn. And I'm not gonna put it back the way it was. I'm gonna do these two relays I mounted here. And the idea is you take the headlight switch and the dimmer switch and use those as triggers to trigger the relays to power up the headlights, bring power directly from the battery, fused power from the battery to the relays to the headlights, and then use the switch as a trigger for those relays. So I'll just draw up a diagram of how I wanted to do it and then trace the wires. I was able to verify these two as the ground. Everything comes in to the left headlight and jumps over to the passenger side headlight. But over here in the shop manual, just gives a overview of the headlight circuit. There's a light blue that goes to the dimmer switch, and then two wires, a tan and a light green for the low beam and the high beam, and where we have the three-prong headlight style. So one prong was black ground, which I verified, and the other two are low beam and high beam. So I'm gonna verify those. I know underneath the carpet inside I have those three wires, the blue and the green and the tan. I'll verify those. So basically these stay and these two are used as triggers for the relays, one for the high beam, one for the low beam, and then I have to bring power from the battery through fused, pick up the relays and in on the relay and out into the headlights, and that will complete the rewiring of the headlight circuit. So here's the sketch I made of how the headlights were going to be rewired. The light blue goes to the dimmer, and out of it come the tan and the light green. The tan is for low beam per the manual, and it goes to pin 86, which is the trigger, and 85 is grounded. And then we'll have to get a source from the battery to go to pin 30, which is power supply, and then out to pin 87, and this will intercept the wiring harness that goes to the headlight, left headlight, and jumps over to the right headlight. Same with the light green, pin 86 of the second relay. 85 is grounded. Bring power to pin 30 and 87 out to the high beam and jump over to the other side. The only spot is somewhere in the harness here. There are a couple of breakout positions. You gotta cut into those wires and splice into new. Otherwise, everything else stays the same. So here you can see the two relays that I relocated to the inside of the core support. I labeled them high beam, low beam, just so I know which one's what. And the way they're gonna work is the blue wire and the pigtail of the relay, according to my diagram that I made and traced to make sure I had a spare relay with the same pigtail. To make sure the colors are correct, is the blue is the feed from the fuse block. So what I have here is, this is the junction block where the feed from the battery is gonna come in, and out of it I'm gonna run this fuse here in, and then it's gonna pick up both blue wires, the high beam and the low beam blue wires, so it'll feed both of them. And then the black one on both relays will be ground. I gotta run them to this ground junction down there. So that leaves the yellow and the white on each one. And the way it's gonna work is white is the trigger and yellow is the feed to the lights themselves, the load to say, on the relay. So over here, the way the lighting harness goes is everything comes from the dimmer switch inside the cab into the driver's side light and then out over to the passenger side. So that's why there are 6 wires in the driver's side headlight, because it comes in and goes out to the passenger side. So this one, these two have already traced to be the ground. So opposite the ground on the socket is the high beam, and the middle one is the low beam. So you can tell the light green stripe on the wire is the high beam feed. So what we're gonna do is cut it here someplace, and then I gotta run a piece of wire from here over to pick up the white wire on the high beam. So when we pull the light switch out, this would be the trigger to energize the relay and pass the power that comes in from the blue wire on the relay, energizes, and then this side will get connected to the yellow coming off of the relay, the yellow, which means power is gonna come in through here, light up this light, and go back out through the other wire into the passenger compartment. And the same will do for the low beam wire. So we'll start cutting the wire. I hate to cut the original wiring harness, but it's gonna be for the better. So I went to AutoZone, got a couple of rolls of 14 gauge white and yellow, just because I wanted them to match the pigtails from the relays. So down the road, I know which wire goes where. So I put a little extension on them, and then I'm gonna route them where the harness goes through that corrugated into the pigtail. And then we'll move on to the low beam relay and do the same thing. So we'll continue on. According to my diagram, the yellow coming from the relay is gonna pick up the load side going to the headlights. So I cut the high beam incoming to the socket here. So what I'm gonna do is take this one, and that's the yellow coming from the high beam relay, and crimp them together here, and then put the cover on and heat shrink it for weatherproofing. And then we'll do the white one for the line side. That's the trigger. This is the wire that comes from the headlight switch and the dimmer into the headlight bulb. So let's do the yellow one first, and then we'll do the white one. So the high beam side is done. Now we'll run the wires for the low beam and do the same thing. So I did the low beam lights also. So the front is done, and it's at a position where I can put the nose back in. But before I do that, since I'm in the wiring mode, might as well finish the wiring here, and then I can put the nose on. So let's continue on. Here are the headlights with the rewiring using the headlight switch as the trigger to the two relays, one low beam, one high beam. This is the low beam. Let's go press the button for the high beam and see what happens. Let's concentrate there. You can see over there the beam pattern changing when I press the button. So the rewiring using the headlight switch as the trigger for the two relays we installed here for the low beam and high beam right there worked. So another successful wiring project completed. This was done during the entire AC install and relocating the battery to the trunk. I wanted to get things done, finished, battery in the trunk up and running before I posted the video to make sure the thing worked. So it was another successful project. Thanks guys for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.